Now here's our top story. A day ahead of the closing of nomination for Lok Sabha Speaker, BJP President JP Nadda and Home Minister Amit Shah are in a huddle. Meeting is on at Home Minister's residence. It is the second meeting between the two of them today. My colleague Maria Shakil joins me on the phone line for more on this story. Maria, it seems that the leaders are burning their midnight oil, so to say, literally, to nominate the Lok Sabha Speaker and to keep their allies happy at the same time.
Yes, that's right. And they do not have much time because around 12 noon tomorrow is when the nomination ends. So by that time, the speaker, nomination has to be done of the NDA. And even the India bloc has been waiting for some kind of clarity to emerge from the, from the government side as to who they plan to propose the name, who they think will be chosen by them for the speaker's chair. So far, the allies of the government, be it the JDU or the TDP, haven't been told as to who the speaker will be. Tomorrow around 12 noon is when we can expect the nomination to be over. If the government actually offers the deputy speaker's chair, then the opposition, may not, field their own candidate for the election of the speaker, which will happen day after tomorrow. But if that is not, if there is no understanding between the two sides, then we can expect some kind of election to take place day after.
Thank you very much, Maria, for joining us with all those details. Now, on the first day of the first session of Parliament since Modi 3.0 came to power, there were jabs and counter-jabs by the government and the opposition. There may be a new reality in the Parliament, but the opposition much stronger after these elections. But that didn't stop the Prime Minister from being on the offensive. He said tomorrow marks 50 years of black spot on Indian democracy. The new generation will not forget how the Indian Constitution was scrapped and how the country was turned into a jail and democracy was captured. The opposition hit right back, saying the BJP was forgetting about a present undeclared state of emergency.
Long live! Long live! Long live!
Day one of the 18th Lok Sabha began with the opposition showcasing its increased strength, holding a march with copies of the Constitution and the Prime Minister launching an emergency attack towards the Congress. Addressing the media before the House met, the Prime Minister said June 25th, that is tomorrow, marks the 50th anniversary of the emergency and called it a blot on the country's democracy.
कल 25 जून को भारत के लोकतंत्र में जो काला धब्बा लगा था, उसके 50 वर्ष हो रहे हैं। संविधान के लीरा उड़ा दिए गए थे, देश को जेल खाना बना दिया गया था, लोकतंत्र को पूरी तरह दबोच दिया गया था।
Refusing to be bogged down by the charge, the Congress hit back at the government, reiterating its undeclared emergency charge.
Without declaring emergency, you are doing it. इसीलिए हर बार वही बात बोल के आप कितने दिन ऐसा ही अपनी हुकूमत करना चाहते हैं?
हमारा संदेश जा रहा है, हिंदुस्तान के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को कोई शक्ति नहीं छू सकती।
This time there is a new opposition. It's an opposition that is resurgent with new numbers and of course more aggression. And it is going to corner the government and is going to ask the government some very difficult questions.
The day began with face-off over the appointment of 7th-term MP Mr. Mehtab as the pro tem speaker. The government calling it convention and the opposition saying that they would not support the new pro tem speaker.
I am 8th time MP. I am the senior most MP in the 18th Lok Sabha. Naturally, the pro tem speaker will be come to me, but unfortunately, BJP was not given to that opportunity.
जो इशू नहीं है, उसको इशू के रूप में चर्चा भी नहीं करना चाहिए।
Much before the House debates the NEET issue, we saw a glimpse of an aggressive opposition, chanting slogans when Union Education Minister walked towards the Lok Sabha podium for his oath as an MP.
आप पेपर लीक जानबूझकर करा रहे हो जिससे नौजवानों को नौकरी और उनका आरक्षण उनको न मिल जाए.
It's very clear today that this examination is not a fair and just examination, and we've been saying that we do not want it and Tamil Nadu has to be exempted from it, and now the whole country is saying the same thing.
मैं समझता हूँ ये बहुत ही बड़ा सख्त जुल्म है उन बच्चों पे. क्वालिफाई किया पढ़कर, कोई अखबार पेपर खरीदा नहीं.
The inaugural special session comes at a time when students are up in arms against the irregularities being faced by India's premier examinations. Clearly, the stage is set for the government and the opposition to clash over a string of issues. With Vasudha Venugopal, this is Maria Shakil in New Delhi.
As investigators now spread out across the country, NEET accused arrested from Latur has been sent to police custody till 2nd of July. A 7-hour-long meeting was held between CBI and EOU officials in Patna on Monday morning in connection with its investigation into the allegations of irregularities in medical entrance exam. Meanwhile, central government has notified rules under anti-paper leak law.
The NEET probe net is widening fast. After Jharkhand's Hazaribagh and Ranchi, one teacher has been nabbed in the NEET paper leak case in Latur. This is the first arrest from Maharashtra. 4 people have been booked in the state so far.
A Zilla Parishad teacher, Jalil Patan, has been arrested in Latur. In fact, the police has found some incriminating evidence, including photographs of hall tickets of candidates, suspicious WhatsApp conversations and online financial transactions. In fact, among those booked is a Delhi-based individual who is believed to be a mastermind in this case.
In Gujarat and Bihar, the CBI has officially taken over the investigation of this case. A CBI probe team is camping in Godhra in Gujarat to take the probe further. A team in Bihar's Nevada faced the ire of locals on Sunday while investigating the matter. Even as the CBI begins its investigation across multiple states, it will merge all existing FIRs into one, picking up where the state investigating agencies left off.
In the states like Bihar and Jharkhand, it is almost confirmed that question paper leak did happen, and it is being confirmed by many, while many other states still remain in denial. In an exclusive, NDTV did catch up with the principal of the school in Hazaribagh, who confirmed that the question paper packaging was tampered with.
अब जो EOU की टीम आई थी, उनका ये कहना था कि इस आंसर बुकलेट के यहाँ पे, ये इस साइड में कहीं से टेम्परिंग था और उसको बढ़िया से ग्लू से किसी ने पेस्ट कर दिया था, जो कि कॉमन लोगों के बस की बात नहीं है.
तो ये किसी प्रोफेशनल ने किया था?
हाँ, ये ऑब्वियसली किसी हाईली प्रोफेशनल ने किया होगा, क्योंकि जब हमने बताया ना, इसे उखाड़ भी नहीं सकते, ये सेल्फ एडेसिव से होता है, इसे हटा भी नहीं सकते, इसे कैंची से कट करना पड़ता है, ये प्रैक्टिस होती है. अब इस साइड किसी का ध्यान गया नहीं कि ये क्या हुआ और किस तरह से बारीकी से कट करके कुछ किया हुआ था और फिर अल्टीमेटली उसको एडेसिव से पेस्ट भी किया गया था.
Even as the probe across states got pace, protests over both the NTA mess and the NEET paper leak continued.
So right now with these delays, like for example the PG examination and with the undergraduate examination, the whole paper leak scenario, all of these students are now concerned with the delays in not just examinations but their careers, because there's a huge question mark now as to what next, whether there'll be a re-exam or whether for the PG students, when will the exam be? The dates have not been announced yet. So the students are in a limbo-like situation right now.
Bureau Report, NDTV.
Now, ahead of Maharashtra Assembly polls, senior Congress leaders have written a letter to party president Mallikarjun Kharge urging the central leadership to replace Mumbai unit chief Varsha Gaikwad to strengthen the party organization in Mumbai. Rajya Sabha MP and Congress Working Committee member Chandrakant Handore, former Mumbai party chiefs Janardhan Chandrukar and Bhai Jagtap and other leaders have written to the Congress High Command.
There's clear infighting and discontent within Mumbai Congress. Congress leaders from Mumbai writing to Mallikarjun Kharge saying that party organization in Mumbai needs to be strengthened ahead of the assembly polls. In fact, 16 senior leaders of Mumbai Congress have demanded that the city unit chief Varsha Gaikwad be replaced so as to strengthen the organization. In fact, they feel that Gaikwad, who in fact won from North Central Lok Sabha constituency as an MP, will not have time to work at the organizational level, and have also objected to her style of functioning over the last several months. So therefore, they have sought time from the Congress leadership to discuss how the party can be rejuvenated ahead of not just assembly elections but also ahead of Mumbai civic polls as well. So as you mentioned, it has been written by Congress Working Committee member Rajya Sabha MP Chandrakant Handore and several other leaders also signatories in it. And they have, in fact, some of the leaders have reached Delhi to meet Mallikarjun Kharge and several other senior leaders of the Congress party. They may also be trying to meet Rahul Gandhi and K.C. Venugopal as well. So meeting related to this is expected to happen tomorrow in Delhi.
Time now for a very tiny break on the show. More on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Fresh row has erupted over India-Bangladesh talks. Central government has junked Bengal CM's claims that state government was not consulted for India-Bangladesh talks over Ganga water sharing treaty. Central government has termed it false claims. According to the government sources, on 24th of July, the central government had sought the nominee of the West Bengal government, the committee for carrying out an internal review of the India-Bangladesh Treaty of 1996 on sharing of Ganga waters at Farakka. On 25th of August last year, West Bengal government conveyed the nomination of chief engineer for the committee. Saurabh Gupta, my colleague, joins me from Kolkata for more on this story. Saurabh, where is the confusion and what exactly is Mamata Banerjee alleging here?
Well, the allegation is quite clear that she is saying that whatever discussions have taken place with Bangladesh as far as the Farakka, water sharing agreement and the Teesta, project or the Teesta water conservation project, both these projects have been done unilaterally by the center, while the impact of whatever water is shared is largely on West Bengal. Firstly, let me give an example. Farakka, for example, feeds water into the Hooghly River, which in turn feeds water into, places like Calcutta, and also further downstream, it supports the Kolkata port and also other ports in this area. So that's one thing. So obviously, if the water level goes down and with the lack of dredging, there's going to be a problem for the Calcutta port, apart from water supply issues all along the industrial belt. It's the oldest industrial belt in the country. Now, apart from that, also what you have is the Teesta. Now, on Teesta, Mamata Banerjee's allegations are quite clear. She's saying that dams have been built on Teesta in Sikkim. As a result, the flow of the water is limited and there isn't enough water to share with Bangladesh, because if that is done, then the people of North Bengal will have no water for their needs. In both cases, if the water is diverted towards Bangladesh, it is West Bengal that will be primarily affected. And therefore, what she's saying is that these have been unilateral decisions, while, and that the center has not consulted the state, and there would be protests if these, unilateral decisions are enforced.
Thank you very much, Saurabh, for joining us with all those details. Now, TDP has slammed ex-Andhra Chief Minister over security arrangements. TDP claims that there was a massive security setup done by Jagan Mohan Reddy, who formed a personal security ring at his palaces. They claim that 986 security personnel for monitoring public movement were put for him, 48 checkposts around Tadepalli Palace, and there were also 24/7 drones monitoring in and around his palaces. The Delhi High Court to pronounce its verdict on Enforcement Directorate's plea seeking stay on Arvind Kejriwal's bail order on Tuesday. Arvind Kejriwal filed a reply in Delhi High Court His reply was to ED's allegations. He said that ED does not have a single proof of spending money in Goa elections and that he was framed as a part of a larger conspiracy. He says that witnesses were made to give statements against him by giving the lollipop of bail. When Delhi's Rouse Avenue Court granted regular bail to Arvind Kejriwal on Thursday last week, on Friday, the ED approached Delhi High Court against it.
Well, first it was the Supreme Court today who stated that it would be premature for them if they give any directions on the relief that was sought by Arvind Kejriwal against the Delhi High Court stay on the bail that he got from the lower court. It was the Supreme Court who said that if any of the parties appeal in the Supreme Court after tomorrow's High Court judgment, then they are ready to hear it, but let's wait for the High Court order. On the other side, today was the date when the High Court had sought a written reply from both the parties, from Arvind Kejriwal's counsel and the Enforcement Directorate, and Arvind Kejriwal ultimately had filed the reply in the Delhi High Court, in which it was stated by Arvind Kejriwal's counsels that the money that was alleged that had gone to Goa for elections through Hawala transactions, there are no such proofs that the Enforcement Directorate had produced till now. It was also said in the written reply by Arvind Kejriwal that certainly all the allegations are baseless against him, and those approvers who were earlier accused and later turned approver in the case, it was certainly the Enforcement Directorate who pressurized them and also told them that they will get bail if they give statements against Arvind Kejriwal, and a conspiracy had been hedged against the Delhi Chief Minister. Now, tomorrow is an all-important day when Delhi High Court will be pronouncing its order on whether Arvind Kejriwal get the relief from the Rouse Avenue Court, as he got the regular bail from the Rouse Avenue Court. It will all depend tomorrow when the order will be pronounced, that whether Arvind Kejriwal will get some sort of relief or he will continue to be in Tihar jail.
A shocking incident has unfolded in Haryana's Hisar at a car showroom during broad daylight. In broad daylight, 3 gunmen with their faces covered fired shots at the car in a showroom in Hisar. According to reports, multiple rounds of firing were reported. They left behind a note demanding 5 crore ransom. Now, Adani Enterprises chairman Gautam Adani today reflected on how in the past year the company fought to defend its integrity amid reputation amid an attack by foreign short seller Hindenburg. At the annual general meeting, Mr. Adani said that the group not only weathered the storm but emerged stronger, proving that no challenge could undermine its foundational strength.
India is no longer at the crossroads of destiny. We stand on the brink of our greatest growth phase. By the end of this decade, our nation is set to become the world's 3rd largest economy. And given our demographic dividend, we are well on our way to being the largest middle class that the world will ever witness. And with the government now in its 3rd term, your company is well positioned to continue the economic and social programs that have driven our spectacular journey over the past decade.
That's all we could pack into this bulletin. Thanks for watching.